Hey, what's up? This is Matt Dietz, and this is Agency Launch. This is the show where I talk about what it's like to run an insurance agency. I talk about staffing and customer service and marketing and sales. And if you can do those four things well, you'll be successful. All right, so in order to help you do one of those things well, we are in an interesting market right now, and they are encouraging agents to pivot and look at other types of coverage to sell. So if you text me 208-213-8809, I have a free resource to help you get your foot in the door to writing commercial insurance. I didn't write commercial for like 2 years. I wish I started sooner, but now I do it really well. So I'm going to tell you what you need to know to get your foot in the door with commercial. So text me commercial to 208-213-8809. All right, on with the show. All right, what's up? All right, today I wanted to talk about maybe some things you need to consider when buying an insurance agency. Okay, I have bought some insurance agencies in the past, and you may be thinking of buying one currently or down the road. And I just wanted to run you through some things that go through my head before I take a look at a book. It's been a while since I've bought one, but I get asked all the time, what should I think about? So I'm just going to share my experience. So I bought a couple of books. It's probably been 10 years since I bought these two books bought them around the same time. At the time, the way that I was able to purchase agencies was directly through my company. We weren't allowed to sell on the open market yet, and that is different now. So you can, I guess, depending on where you work and what kind of book you have or what kind of book you're buying, it's pretty common right now to buy a book of business on the open market. So what should you be buying for? This is a question that's always puzzled me. There's a pretty broad metric, right? I have heard of books most recently going for as much as 3 times, a 12-month renewals. All right. Now that is in the high end. You better be buying a flagship, generational type business that is really rock solid. Okay. Some people say one of the most basic metrics is how much does the agency drive, in renewal commissions in 12 months? Like that's kind of your baseline. I don't think you should ever pay less than that, right? So between 1 and 3 times is really the broad spectrum. The better the book of business, the more you're going to pay. So how do you define what's a better book of business? Okay. So, here's some questions that I would ask. How long has the current agency owner owned the agency? I think that's important. If they've owned it for 30 years, that's better than someone who's owned it for 18 months. Okay. Also, how many agents have owned this book of business? All right. That's another question that's really important. So if you're going to be the third agent in a 5-year period, it's going to be pretty unstable. Those people are not going to have a lot of loyalty to you. Okay. Coming into the mix, they might not know their second agent. They may, so it's just going to be an uphill climb from customer service. You've really got to come out of the gate and kill it, that first year. So how many owners has this book had, and how long did they have it? The longer they had it, the better. And, it's like buying a car. How many owners has this car had? I want the original owner. I want low miles, right? And I want the current owner to be an 83-year-old, woman who drives it to the market and back once a week. So that's important. The second question is what are the current retention numbers? This should be easy to find out. So, what's a great retention in our industry? Like if you come across a book of business that has like a 90% retention, that is very, very good. Okay. I think industry average might be in the low 80s right now, 83, 84%. Anything under that, you have some concerns with, right? When you buy a book of business, that can be an opportunity for current clients to shop. They're like, well, I'm not with the agent that sold me. I don't have a relationship with the new owner. My rates are kind of high. I'm going to go shopping. This is going to be a natural part of the attrition anyway. But if you have a book from an agency owner who's been there the whole time and it's 90%, you're going to lose fewer clients. So what's the retention? Let's see, what else? I'd want to know the mix of business. What's the mix of products in this book of business? What is the percentage of home, auto, commercial, life, and so on? I think that's just good for you to know what kind of opportunities are going to be in that book. Is it heavy in monoline business? Monoline business has lower retention, but it could give you more opportunities to cross-sell. That's a question I would ask the owner. Why do you have so many monoline clients? Are you not competitive in the other line? I'm sure, a good agent always tries to cross-sell. So if they're heavy on monoline policies, I'd want to know why. If there's very little low life insurance in there, that could actually be an opportunity, for you. Maybe the agent didn't enjoy or wasn't good at selling life insurance, and that can be an opportunity for you. So what's the mix? Is there commercial? How much commercial? What companies are all these policies with? Where do you have to get appointments with? And in order to service these policies and things like that. So what's the broad mix of where all of these policies are? What companies are they with? And what line of business are you buying? Okay. Maybe see if you can find the metric. How many policies per household? Back in the day, we could run all kinds of metrics on the book, and you could run a report that showed how many policies per household. If you have over 2.5 policies per household, that's a good sturdy book. If you have 1.5 policies per household, again, that's a little bit less. So you'd want to take a look at how many policies per household if you can get to that information. All right, so this was an important one. I had to learn a hard lesson on this one. What is the agent that you're buying from doing next? Now, they may or may not tell you this, but I think it's very relevant to the sale. Okay, if you're buying a book of business from an agent who's going independent, I would think strongly about not buying that book, because I did that and I got murdered. Okay. I bought a book from an agent who retired for real, and it was wonderful. One way to gauge this is a little trick that I learned. The first agent I bought from, I said, "Hey man, would you mind writing a letter that we can send to all your current clients endorsing me, as being a good guy or good agent or something like that?" He was like, "Sure." I said, "I'll even write it." So I wrote it. I made it easy for him and he signed it. He's like, "Hey, my name's, so-and-so, after 20 years of service, I'm going to be retiring, and Matt's going to be taking over your policies. Matt's a strong agent. He's done a good job. He's going to be there for you. I fully endorse, Matt. He's totally qualified to take care of you. Reach out to him, blah, 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 blah." So I wrote it up for him. He signed it and we sent him out. That was great. The next book that I bought about a year later, I asked the agent selling the same question. I was like, "Would you be willing to write a letter?" He said, "No, I'm not willing to do that." And it was a little awkward. I was like, all right. I was kind of a newer agent and I didn't kind of push the subject. I wasn't like, I should have asked why, if I had a redo on that, I'd be like, well, why not? Well, within 1 year, the non-compete was up and he came back and pillaged that book that I bought. He didn't do anything wrong. He didn't do anything illegal. It sucked. And I would want you to avoid that if at all costs. So do your best to determine what this person's moving out of state or whatever. I would try and figure out what they're going to be doing. All right, another good one is, is the agency growing? I'd want to see, as far back as I could go, reports showing how much new business is coming in and total policies and or total premium in force as far back as you can go. If you are buying an agency that has grown every year since you've bought it, that's a good sign. If you have one that's losing policies, you'd want to ask questions about that. If they're losing policies just over the last year, but they've grown up to that point, I wouldn't think that's too bad of a thing, just because, the agent who's selling may just have checked out and been like, "Look, I'm done. It's taken me this long to sell it. I haven't been writing new business because I'm transitioning into the next part of my life, but the prior 14 years, we've grown every year," or something like that. So I'd want to see what's the trajectory, of this agency as far back as you can go. I want to know that. And the last one is like, how is this business staffed? And Are you going to absorb any of the staff members? It's a tough transition for staff to go from one agency owner to another, especially if you come in with different expectations of your staff. I did. I got a business. One of the agencies I bought came with a employee, and she'd been there for 14 years. And I was worried that if I let her go at any time, that a lot of the book was going to leave too. This was a rookie thought, okay? Because I did end up letting her go. I held on to her for about 2 years too long. I had her for 2.5 years, and we just didn't work out. I had different expectations. Everyone that works for me is required to sell and do new business and stuff like that. And she never really kind of got on board with what I was trying to do, and so I ended up letting her go. And so I learned quickly that my fear of other customers leaving because she left, like no one left because she left. So please, I want to relieve you of that fear right now. Clients are not loyal to your help staff, okay? They're loyal to you. They're loyal to the brand. You may lose one or two. Maybe they have some family members or something like that they brought on board. But for the most case, I don't want you to worry about that, okay? You don't leave your bank because your favorite teller left, okay? You don't leave your accountant because, their bookkeeper left, or something like that. So I want you to just keep that in mind. So these are the things that I would tell you, to really drill down on and find out when it comes to purchasing an agency. These are the questions that I would want to know, to best determine on this is going to be a good investment. Buying a business is a quick way to learn. It's a quick way to grow, man. You're going to get, a quick cash infusion, even though you're probably going to take out a big loan to do it. So, but when you do buy, I've done another episode in the past I'd encourage you to look at is what to do, right after you buy it. How do you connect with all these new clients? What do you do to, the first year that when you buy a book of business, you want to do everything you can to connect with your clients. So there's an episode, in Agency Launch where I talk about what to do after you buy an agency, and I would ask you to listen to that too. So there you go. Thank you so much for listening. My name's Matt. This is Agency Launch. You can find me all over the place. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Twitter and Instagram at Dietz Agency. Don't forget to send me a text, 208-213-8809, and send me the text that says commercial, and I'll send you an asset from my master program on how to start writing commercial insurance right now. Thank you so much for listening. Keep up the good work.